DC's Creature Commandos Season 1 finale. Will there be a Season 2? We have the tragic death of a character, and we got left with a very open ended question going into what could be our DC universe. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brian here back with Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. You know what it is? We're going to jump right into the meat and potatoes here because this was a rather juicy, as far as details concerned, episode finale for DC's Creature Commandos. I enjoyed it. I think it could have been better. However, let's listen to the man whose opinion you truly care about. Will, your thoughts?
This episode again was great in terms of details, character development, season stuff, but it didn't have a big bang. Kind of what you kind of expect for a season finale. You want something a little bit more, I guess, explosive, something kind of fun, and especially when it comes to superhero type, properties. With this one, we more or less got the tragic ending of Nina, who attempted to do her first, more or less, assassination on the leader of what Pakistan is that was called. Freaking like it's just sad the way that she went out because it wasn't that fact that she wasn't capable of the job. Like if she was able to do the job, she probably would have got more recognition because she was, silent and stealthy. But Weasel, dang it, Weasel. Weasel kind of got because he had memories of the little girl that he used to play with, and the fact is that him and the princess were playing earlier. Like all this kind of flooded back memories. So as feral as he is, he reacted, and because he ended up alerting freaking the princess inadvertently, because he didn't want her to die. Guess what happened? Nina ended up being, taken out, and we lost her because the princess defended herself. So I'm happy about this part of the episode because again, it shows character growth as far as Nina because we got her entire backstory, and we see how more or less, Lady Frankenstein, how she reacts to the situation. Which we'll get more into in a bit, and the team as a whole again with Weasel reacting, actually biting through, burning himself in the process of biting through Dr. Phosphorus to do some damage. And, everyone, even Amanda Waller, admitting that she was wrong, which doesn't happen often, people admitting she was wrong because, again, they found out about the doctor was a fake. We see this stuff was set up. Cersei was kind of putting stuff into play. What was really happening? It just changed the whole dynamic of the show at the end of, okay, who's truly the mastermind, who's truly involved, what's really happening. So again, it just kind of meandered for me.
It felt like we're left with more questions than we were with answers, and it seemed like an unsatisfying way. The writing has been spectacular. The character progression has been great. The action sequences, when done, have been done properly. This was more of a somber, kind of resolute almost ending to a season. And I know that having Nina being taken out as because she was truly the only good person on this team from a conscious perspective. Sure, Dr. Phosphorus started out as great. Because of what happened to him, he went down a dark road, got stopped by Batman. The bride started off as innocent. The person she loved got ended by Frankenstein, who she has taken vengeance upon time and time and time again. Changed. The Weasel, he may truly be innocent in this, and he may actually be a good individual. Still hard to deal with, and I'm still a little bit bitter about how things played out. And then obviously we lost GI Robot early on in the season, which we'll get to later. But having such a characters of this ilk, and like Rick Flag he was never a good person. He was never a good individual. So I'm not really like too torn up about that. He can stay off screen for all I care, broken back and all. But we saw the big reveal that, Amanda Waller figured out that Clayface was the one that was impersonating the doctor. So found out that she got the one who ultimately got duped, which means Cersei had some kind of weird intuition about things that are going on. But it turns out the princess is not nearly as innocent as we thought she was. Because, I mean, she was taking out thugs throughout this season. She was defending herself. She was a more experienced fighter than Nina. And even though Nina had a 100% advantage, the minute Weasel blew the whistle by acting all crazy, she looked down. Do you know how smart you have to be awareness wise to realize there's Weasel over there? I'm probably going to get got from below as opposed to anywhere else. The recognition on her part is insane. And it shows that she had a very, very good intellect and that she was moving things in a rapid pace. But, like, as the episode kind of went on, the bride kind of fared out rather astutely. There's significantly more at play, which I'll kind of let you jump in and talk about as far as their confrontation after this series of events.
Well, she's third because they figured out that one, all this was about the princess, being taken out because she was going to be the one that causes more or less World War III or something. Like it was about to be an epic proportions. The world's going to end. Something's going to happen. Like it's about to go nuts. The problem that was found out was that Clayface, who was in on it from the princess's side. And because she was in on it from the princess's side, the bride was able to figure it out. And you see it going through the books and stuff like that. All the different books and stuff like that were kind of, a little bit of clues to kind of her personality. But we see that she enlisted Clayface to act as she needed to, take out the doctor and pretend to be the doctor. While when the doctor had met with Amanda Waller, the doctor was who she was. That was said very specifically. So everything she was saying, as far as revolving around Cersei and stuff like that, all that stuff was still factual, I guess, in terms of the canon of how this is going to go down, how this is going to be caused. But the other side of it was the bride just didn't care anymore. Like they were stopped. Hey, don't take her out. Like there's a very specific reason I don't want you to take her out because again, we don't want things to go badly. But the bride don't care. You just took out my friend. And I think that's a guilt thing. I sent to go take you out. So that's indirectly her fault
It's her burden to bear.
Yeah, freaking and Weasel, who is animalistic in nature, doesn't really have a burden to bear. It doesn't really care. Like again, he cared about that one that showed him kindness, and that's kind of it. Other than that, he's just kind of, I'm here, whatever. So with that being said, she took the shot. She ended the princess, point blank, period, and they went ahead and moved on about their stuff. But again, how does that react? Because they were rewarded when they got back. The bride was rewarded with an entire new wing, with an entire, new team.
New team.
Well, GI Robot, who has been rebuilt. We got Dr. Phosphorus in there. We got freaking looks like a, Lady Vampire type, bat creature. It looks like, we got a mummy, which it was either, Callus or A10, depending on whatever, which served again as the team's medic in, other iterations, where of course wrap you in the mummy's bandages, you can kind of get healed and survive some stuff. And then King Shark. King Shark is basically what Nina could have been a stealth assassin in the water or whatever the case be. King Shark is more of I'm up front in your face, I'm gonna bite your head off and going about my business. But the thing is, he has the advantage of being able to be in and out of water, no problem. So again, with Nina gone, her being a liability in that case because she has to remain in that bubble, it kind of made sense and stuff for setting up the bride and again building the bride out to be a better leader because now she has a team, she ain't got nothing else to do, she can continue to take care of her team and just kind of move that stuff going forward. Do not bring Nina back. Do not in any capacity let her be done and allow this new team to move forward. And I think we're getting to season 2, hopefully 8 to 10 episodes of season 2 about a continuation of whatever's going on in this story. And we have to find out whether or not it actually has any bearing on the actual DC universe's new, plot line in terms of Suicide Squad stuff, because Peacemaker is still around. He was part of the Suicide Squad, which is, again, anything that comes from the second Suicide movie, if it is mentioned from this point going forward or anything involving Peacemaker with that, it is canon to the universe. Anything that Peacemaker the first season, all that stuff is canon.
Other than
So
him meeting the Justice
other than
League.
him meeting the Justice League, everything else is canon as far as the characters are. So we'll see how this, compares and what pulls together. Because again, with Creature Commandos, again, it's a bunch of monsters. Suicide Squad was more or less more humans than not that were bad and doing kind of thing. So what are we going to get? So Creature Commandos, Justice League, and Lobo is what we got right now. And Batman is still in limbo. So
A lot of stuff to figure out there. All I hope for is that Creature Commandos is not one and gun, pun intended. I think it's something that can definitely continue on fantastically. I'm really excited for Peacemaker season 2 for that Superman entry because I hate to say it, I could have been wrong about Corin Sweat. He looks the part. I think things will fill out properly. I like the way they're formulating their universe. We're gonna have some really exciting stuff on our hands. A lot of great content to cover here on the channel, as well as just the fact that I think the team she's building is going to be definitely unique and different. And we see at the very end with the post-credit scene, which they teased like it was going to be this huge monumental thing, turns out to be a typical James Gunn joke, and just turns out that Frankenstein, even though he got filled with lead in probably 7 or 8 different shots, is still with us and still as crazy, as obsessed and stockative as he's always been pertaining to the bride. So I'm sure he'll cause problems moving forward. I'm so curious about the documents that the princess will finish signing or ratifying as she was being canned, because she seemed to be astute that the situation was dire. She finished the signature and then got a nice new accessory into her skull. So interested to see what all that will entail. I'm sure we're not going to get any clever answers in the meantime, but what we can get in the meantime is you to hit that lovely red subscribe button. It's absolutely free. It's in the bottom right corner here below or in that box below. Entirely free. Helps us out a ton. We have a tons of great content coming up from you. Well, from us for you here in the future, whether that be more Baldur's Gate 3 live streams, whether that be Supermarket Simulator, whether that be me making some shorts from the country of the rising sun over here in Japan with the next couple weeks, or Will and Tony holding down the fort, covering all the other great content while I will be away. We got a lot of great stuff for you. I've been Brent with the man whose opinion in Marvel you truly care about. Will, we'll see you in the next one.